Yo, 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 welcome back to Business Casual. I'm your host, Miles Brown. And today, topic is a real life event. So, I was out doing a training for the cleaning company, and I get a call from one of my employees, um, slash contractor. And when he came uh, on the phone, he was in such panic, it was hard to even listen to. And so he's telling me, the elevator, what's wrong with the elevator? I'm like, what's going on? He was like, I think my mop fell through the hole and now the mop head has somehow gotten tangled in the motor. And all you hear is screech, screech, screech. And it sounded terrible. So I'm sitting here like, wait a minute. This situation is absolutely insane right now because what in the world am I supposed to think? Like, how did a mop just slip down the elevator shaft and get caught in the motor? How? How did that just happen? And so the next thing, I show up, I finish my training and run over here as soon as I could. And when I got there, he was trying to get the mop out, and he really didn't know what he was doing. And so I'm looking at it, I'm like, dude, that thing is so tangled. You would have to cut it out with like some scissors and then try to get the pieces that are stuck in the gears out. We don't have the equipment, we don't have the angle to get that. And so I had to call my contract that we're taking care of and alert them immediately as to what had happened, sending over pictures and just showing them what's going on, keeping them abreast of the situation. And needless to say, this employee was already documented on their third strike. This was like they were on their third strike before they were fired. And this happens. And the lesson that I learned was fire fast and always have a good pool of people to hire from. Because in these days and time, people are, like Anton Daniels say, crashing out quicker than you can really respond. And keeping those type of people, crash dummies around you, they can cost you so much in realized monthly cash flow, all because they may be moving too fast or they may be angry at the world because of their life, or who knows what's angering this person. You can't control your employees' emotions. Like, these people are complete humans that live separate lives, and you try to pick the most professional person for the job. But even the most professional person one day will lose it. And that's literally the reason people have insurance. And that's why you need general liability. Um, I use Next Insurance for my small business. I'll put a link in the description as a referral for them. If you're trying to start a small business and you want some, or you have an existing business, but you want a quote from Next, just hit those guys up. But in the midst of this whole situation, it's crazy to me because I'm like, now here's where you show your contractor why they got you as a cleaning company, because we also jumped right in and because what happened was, to get an elevator person out there to fix it is gonna they're not gonna be able to come over here until next Thursday. But I was able to get an engineer on the phone today that specifically deals with these type of incidences for elevators. And he said that the earliest convenience he had was in like 3 weeks. But based off of what I told him, they would definitely be able to fix it, and it would cost like around 300 an hour, starting at 3, maybe 4 hours to resolve that issue. So I'm probably going to end up paying that out of pocket just to keep my premiums from going up. And that's just the cost of doing business. That's how it goes sometimes. A bad employee, that human capital, could go rotten on its own without any intervention just because it's human capital. It's not artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence will have issues as well, but humans are on record in history being the most beneficial as well as problematic currency on this earth. Like, look at the slave trade. Look at all of that's caused, even in our today's time. Like, because people wanted something for nothing, it traumatized another people so bad that we have this crazy dynamic in America that's leading to all of this mental health sickness. Um, People are crashing out daily off of race alone. And it's, in my opinion, avoidable because you have to realize, like, Yahweh allowed it. He allowed everything. So really, bygones have to be bygones, and you just have to understand that we live in a world where some people have done some egregious things. Some people will never do those things again, but the vast majority would, because that's what the word said. A vast majority would do it again to keep their spot. And we're living through that in so many ways, because some violence isn't violence. Some violence is financial abuse, keeping your neighborhoods completely poor, and devising the education system around a way of living that most black people cannot keep up with without keeping both parents out of the house at all times. And in this day and age, everybody can't afford it. So it's like the both parents is out of the house a lot. It's only a few people that can really finagle it to where they're really taking care of their kids. Very few minority now. Very few. So one of the things that I just want to continue to point out when doing business is that there's a human aspect to this that you can't get in a class. Like, once you start and you have employees, it's a crapshoot. I've hired college graduates. This guy's a college student currently at a great university, and all the credentials and everything, like, very good. But it doesn't prevent somebody from crashing out. And that's why the Lord is so much more concerned with our character and who we are when nobody's around, because it's some smart people that do some dumb stuff when people not looking, and they setting their lives back left and right, and they hating on the people who may not be as smart, but their character is good. So God continues to elevate and bless them because they know their place. And when you know your place, you're not jealous of nobody else. You don't care. You walk in one with the Father. He's ordaining your steps. You very far out the way. Like, I don't think about anybody, color, whatever. I don't give a crap. Like, I'll deal with reality as it comes, but I do not care about any of that. Now, does it make me a fool? No, because I do understand the history. And I know that there are key indicators that if something's repeated long enough, it may not be the truth in everybody, but it's the majority. So you have to understand that sometimes cultures can have a groupthink mentality, and a lot of times that leads to bullying because competition is a human instinct. Like you see one person doing good, you want to try to do better. But if you try to do better than that person all the time and then they always outshine you, some people don't know how to go into their cave with the Lord and allow him to polish you up like a diamond. So when the sun hits you, you shine too. Because each individual soul has a value to the Most High that is more significant than the earth. He gave us a soul because he wanted to have a people that loved him for him. And when I think about the character of the Most High, I think of the best father on earth who is just trying his hardest with his creation to send a message that I'm not playing. Rules is rules. And as much as the devil wants to convince us that lawlessness is the way to go, the further and further humanity is going to shrink into degeneracy faster and faster. And he said in the end times, perilous times shall come. Fathers will be against sons, mothers against daughters, you know, in-laws versus everybody. Like it's a crazy situation. And we see the degeneration of family. It's in front of all of us. You look at your family, you've seen some degeneration, but it doesn't make your situation any less beautiful because the controversy, a lot of times when we look back on it, is what makes the story good. So what if you're a black man in a predominantly white dominated um, earth or Western form of being? Just like Rome fell, the West will fall, the East will fall, and the Most High will reign. Just like Egypt fell, just like um, all of the empires that existed, they all fell. They don't exist today. And the ones that do exist today, they're falling right in front of us. The degeneracy level is at an all-time high. Media is degenerate. And it's funny because the internet, all it did was just put instant access between you and your thoughts. And when the Father said that their thoughts were continuously wicked during Noah's time, like all they could think about was evil, that blew me away because I was like, okay, I get what's going on here. This is just repeating in the last days what happened during Noah's time. So the Bible is correct because we have instant access to pornographic sites on our phone at all times. We have instant access to uh, alcohol, marijuana, any substance you could think of. The phone can connect you to it. And so nothing has really changed since back then because if you had feet and you could walk, you could go find out where the cocaine tree is. You can go find out where they sell the weed, where they drink the alcohol, where they make the alcohol out of the wine and all of that. Like everything is a commodity. And so as a business, you knowing that everything is a commodity, that's a great way and a place to tap in, find your commodity, find how you bring value to the ecosystem and plug in. And we haven't been really taught to plug in on the level that other nations have. Other nations grow up knowing, like, yeah, uh, I want to own energy. I want to own minerals. I want to own like precious metals, like mountains of where diamonds. Like they know that there's a value in a wealth to having a natural tap on something that the whole world needs. And that's all business is. It's either products or services. There's nothing else you can really offer somebody if it's not a product or a service. So once you break everything down to such a small, minute level, that's when you find out what people you need to hire to put in position, because the father has to be leading you. You got to be in total alignment because there's too many variables to account for. And even in God's alignment, sometimes when he moves a person out of position, it may feel like it hurts, but it's actually to elevate you higher. And it's hard to see at the time because you're like, oh, I need this person to do X, Y, and Z and blah, blah, blah. But then you sit back and you realize, like, no, like, you need to reach out. You need to know what's on people's mind. You need to be a good judge of character. And to be a good judge of character, you have to have good character. That's why criminals and stuff, they always end up backbiting and stabbing each other because they're partnering with people who already have bad intent. Y'all want to go steal something. And then once you steal it, you think everybody wants the share that was discussed ahead of time. But nah, he had his eye on his share and your share. So now you've pulled off this heist and y'all got this money. But the real danger begins because now you the prey. And that's why sin just doesn't pay, because you think, oh, well, we went and robbed these people together. We got all this money. We going to break it down. Nah, big homie want all of it. This was just a training mission. You break down on the next one. Huh? What you mean? You break down on the next one. Nah, you good. And that's when people get killed because they don't mind saying, oh, okay, I got you. Walk to the trunk, pow, over. Now the war started. The war gonna start now. Y'all in war. They know where your cousins stay. They know where his cousins stay. Y'all going to funerals every other week. And what happens? The people who own the energy are getting richer. The people who own the minerals are getting richer. The people who own the gardens that sell the flowers for the funeral, they getting funerals left and right. Guess what? Somebody eating. There are florists that have been eating off of Black Death for years. They've been eating off of all death, but some of their best years were fueled by the rate of Black people getting murdered at a high rate. We need more Black-owned florists, and we need a correction in society and our people. And our people have given up on our people. I hear more and more now We done with the black folks. Black folks saying we done with black folks. We done. The culture is dead. It's ugly. It's nasty. It's over. And really, what they're done with is the degeneracy of sin. But a lot of these people still want to sin in the way they want to sin. But the sin vibration breeds more sin. Because in order for you to have your sin, somebody else has to have theirs. And it just keeps going over and over and over and over and vibrating over and over and over again. But the more we give to the Father, the less we want to vibrate that sin nature because it's evil. You don't want sin nature. You want um, the Father to be tapped in with you. And he's tapped in with you right now. He waiting on your call right now. Prayer. So sometimes we really don't understand what it means to lose an employee because of the amount of work it puts on your back to get somebody replaced. But then there becomes an effort for a system to remove you from being the person who does the training and getting things back on track. And that's when you find exponential growth because we need exponential growth real bad. Until next time, I'm your host, Miles Brown. Peace.